Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. And today we want to take a look at the easiest attack in Clash of Clans. And by easiest, I mean basically the strategy which is so easy to use, and at the same time it's so crazy strong. And I'm talking about 10 lightnings witches. The thing about witches is that they are so weak to scatter shots. But if there are no scatter shots left anymore in the base, you have no problems. So I will teach you in today's video on how you can use this strategy on basically any base. Like this attack in the background, ring bases, no problem. Under 3-star bases, no problem either. Teaser bases, easy peasy. I will talk about all of this. I will give you every single rundown kind of on how you should approach bases and everything. And this is going to be it for today's video. But let's enjoy the last couple of seconds of this attack, and then we jump into the first kind of guide attack, I would say, where I explain a bit more on what exactly is happening. On this attack, you guys saw in the beginning the usage of the lightnings for the scatters. Like always, that's kind of like the classic thing to do. And after that, it's, well, most of the time, kind of depending on how you use those lightnings. And on this one, it's the ring base, so you want to walk the entire ring with your witches. On the same time, you want to snipe the tunnel with the blimp, with the ram, things like that. And that's what we're doing over here. We used the ram, the siege machine, to get rid of the tunnel, and then the witches will finish off this job. Take a look at this overkill. We have so many witches, we have so many skeletons, and obviously we have a ton of ice golems still left alive. So this is a crazy overkill. I think there are like 4 more ice golems left alive. I'm sorry, 3 ice golems left alive and like a ton of witches. So really great attack by boss. And I think we should jump into the first attack and on the first style of base. The first one is one of my attacks against Inquisition, which we played yesterday as Tribe. And I want to show with this example on how you can approach most of those anti-3-star bases, because there's nearly always value around the scatters. So the first thing which we're doing, obviously, is taking a look at the scatters, right? Like, the scatters are the key things to use the lightnings for, because, as I said, the biggest threat to witches are scatter shots. That's just how it is. So the first thing what we're doing is taking a look at the scatters and kind of marking them for ourselves. Because there are a couple of different option setups on lightnings, and this one is a pretty classic one. So you have the scatters on one side, because what base builders try to do with this is they're kind of creating dead zone, or like death zones, not dead zones, death zones. What this means is basically there are a couple of skeletons in between, giant bombs, things like that, and hybrid will have a really rough time to get through that. But with witches, you really like it, because if I take the lightnings like this, so I will take out the top side, the wizard tower, air defense, scatter shot, and the queen platform. On the right side, I take the scatter out, the cannon, and the air defense. With this, I'm creating kind of pathing for my later witches, because I'm taking out the entire flank. Even though it's like only 2 parts of the flank, but with taking care of the connections, which is in this case the 3 o'clock side, well, with taking care of that 3 o'clock side, it's easy pathing wise, and nothing will ever go to the right side. With this being said, I think we should just play the attack, and I will show you guys exactly what is key on this one. So first off, the most difficult thing about this attack is hitting the lightnings. Like, the rest is, as you guys will see in a second, pretty easy. I'm using a Yeti over here to funnel, because I was kind of afraid of Tesla, and as you guys can see, my prediction was kind of right with Tesla over there. So we get this. The queen is luckily stepping into the right direction. She could have went for the Tesla as well, but my queen is actually kind of smart sometimes. And now, as I said, the witch is just in one straight line, a couple of ice golems in front, and that's it. Now with the freeze, you have to kind of react. Sometimes you have to use it for the enemy clan castle. Sometimes you have to use it for a multi-inferno tower maybe. Sometimes for the town hall, things like that. But most of the time you have so many ice golems that the town hall is not the biggest threat, so you can save it for later on. On this attack, well, as I said, my queen, or like the CC, kind of messed me up. But you guys can see the entire right side is cleared, or like the pathing is cleared. And now there's this multi-inferno tower. This cute little multi-inferno tower, which thinks it's actually strong against witches. But if you're bringing 17 witches against this cute little multi Inferno Tower, you don't care. You just straight up don't care about this. And you guys can see my witches. They're beating through everything. My Royal Champ is still alive, using her ability right now. And there's not much left standing. Oh yeah, there's a single Inferno Tower, which is even more cute, to be honest, than a multi-Inferno Tower to witches. But there are just so many witches alive. And as you guys see, it's an insane overkill. And that's what I said. All what I did on this base is I dropped 10 lightnings and 2 earthquakes for the scatters because they're the biggest threat. And then I placed like 1 Yeti to funnel, and after that I placed 17 witches, I believe, in one line. Oh, I forgot. I forgot something really important. I think I placed 3 tank Yetis for the witches. That was kind of rough, I know, but no, I'm kidding, obviously. But still, guys, whenever you guys are searching for a strategy because you are really not that happy or not that good with Yeti Smash or like Zap Lalo or Green Charge Hyper, things like that, and you want to have an easy but straightforward strategy, exactly this is the strategy to go for. Obviously, you should find your own style of how many witches you should run. Like some people are using 15, sometimes using 17, some people are even using 20 witches because you do not need that much cleanup. So 4 ice golems and then like 20 witches are totally fine. But let's take a look at the next page. This is kind of like a teaser setup, right? So sometimes let's talk about the scattershot setup, because sometimes you have the scatters kind of on the flank, on opposite sides. Obviously not on this base, but just as an example. What you're doing then is kind of like pushing in between of those, sometimes into the town hall, sometimes from the other side of the town hall. Do not be afraid to go in from the other side. Use your ram to get deeper into the base, and you can use super wall breakers as well with this army composition. It's really powerful that you have the slot of the super troops free to use for super wall breakers, for example. So sometimes you can even use a delayed ram to get to the town hall. And remember, you can use the ward ability to protect the ram as well. So it's pretty crazy. But now let's talk about the smiley, which I just drew. First off, obviously the lightnings on this base are pretty obvious because you have multi and scatter shots next to each other. Obviously it's not always that easy, but sometimes you take those, right? The next thing what Boss is doing over here, which I have to say I'm not 100% sure why he did that. I'm not 100% agreeing with what he's doing, but still I want to showcase to you because he's doing this attack quite a bit. Him, like Boss, and Fearless, which we're seeing a little bit later as well, is having like they're having most of the wars just 6 packs, like non-stop 6 stars with this strategy, and they're kind of their own style and their own approach to bases. But now let's talk about the attack itself. So those teaser bases, he's just going to walk the tower with all of those witches. He's doing it with a couple of them on the 3 o'clock side with the king, etc., to take care of the bomb tower. This is the point where I disagree. I don't think it's worth it to kind of sacrifice your clan castle, the siege machine, and the king to get rid of that, because now it's happening what I kind of expected. It's super, like, headhunters are coming out, super minions, and those troops have no chance against those. So that's kind of unnecessary in my opinion. But either way, let's get back to the attack, because he's getting with all of those witches. Like, just take a look. The witches are overwhelming the bottom side of the base, and there are 4 freaking expos. That's crazy. Like, there is so much DPS, and if you have like 17 or like 15 witches like Boss did, you don't care about those 4 expos. Like, it's just not that bad. The one thing which you have to be careful about is, especially if you're running into a teaser base like this, you need some sort of troops to kind of trigger bombs, because this is the main weakness of this attack strategy, is giant bombs. It's traps, because the problem is skeletons obviously do not trigger traps, which means that most of your witches are getting hit by most of them, and you do not have any heals, you don't have any spells, and you don't have healers with this army composition most of the time. So you need to keep your witches healthy, so be careful with that. If you're running into a teaser like this, bring some test troops, like normal wall breakers for example, into the attack, things like that, which are normally pretty nice, and try to trigger traps. That's all what I want to say. Boss over here is really trying to mess this attack up with swagging the freeze, basically, because he's not hitting the cannon. I don't know why he trolled, but either way, it's in the end a triple anyway. And well, that's just another 3-star. On my end, if you guys would ask what I would have done different, like I said, I would have just added the siege machine and the king with the witches at the bottom side. I would have just not cared about the bomb towers on the back, and I would have used the royal champ over there. Either way, great attack, 3 stars, and that's what matters. Let's take a look at the next attack. And this is like the own style of how Fearless is executing this attack, because as I already said, the problem with this attack sometimes is the healing power, and you don't have any healers. He's doing it a bit different. If you ask me, I prefer the other way, but this is how Fearless is doing, and this is the nice thing about this army, is you can use your own version, kinda. But once again, we have to take a look at the scatters first. We can see those two things, and we have once again like a 3 o'clock side, which is basically dead, or like basically not existing, if we can cut this connection. So if we get this archer tower and elixir storage, for example, out of the way, we have this really narrow path of base left. And now it's all about just sending the witches in there and obviously getting through the base. And that's what he's going to do. He's going to use the ram to get to the town hall. And as I said, do not be afraid of taking the path of the opposite side of the town hall. It's still most of the time working. You just need to be careful with your freeze and with your warden ability. So let's take a look. First off, he's sending a couple of ice golems, which are always helping a lot. And now the ram is opening the next wall. Warden ability was a little bit short, like the warden was a little bit lacking behind, so he did not get the ram, but he opened up all of the walls which are needed. Now everything is kind of getting slowly into the base. I'm not agreeing with the freeze, to be honest. I think he could have either delayed the freeze or used the freeze for the town hall, one of those two options. And now the next thing is happening. He's sending in the royal champ as well. Everything so far is looking perfect. There are once again a ton of witches which are tanking, and the healers are healing them up again. So there's nothing left which can actually threaten those troops. And that's the power of witches. They're generating their own tanks, and if there is not 3 multi-inferno towers, the base has there's not enough splash damage to take care of all of those witches and skeletons. And that's the thing about this strategy. And this is why I think this is one of the most powerful strategies in the game. And at the same time, it's the easiest strategy in the game. Because like I said, you need to hit those lightnings. You need to kind of mark in your head already where exactly you want to use the lightnings and how you want to create the pathing. But after that, it's insanely easy, especially because there is no counterplay. As soon as you press the lightnings button and you do not misdrop it or anything, this building, this area is going to be dead. Like there is nothing left after that. And that's the big strength of the strategy. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this strategy. I hope it helped you, this video. And well, let me know if you try this strategy on your own. Let me know how it works for you guys. But I just think it's broken. I don't think you should be able to zap both key defenses, the scatters, with just 10 spells or something like that. It's crazy. Try it on your own. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys back tomorrow for the next one. Until then, see you guys and bye bye.